Hi BookTube, I'm here today, as the video title suggests, to talk to you about how to organize bookshelves, but also with a little bit of a rant. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a quote from one of the favorite books that I've read last year, and that is Carnival by Robbie Hodge. The quote pretty much explains itself, talking about how to organize, how the main character organized his books. Every day, I choose a book or two from the massive collection in my apartment and take them with me in my taxi. I may have neglected to tell you that my apartment is filled with books, towers of books stretching up in all directions. When a woman enters my house, a tunnel of books welcomes her. A carnival of heroes bounces from every corner, and I lead her straight through the welcoming applause of writers and mice. I sit on books, sleep on them, breathe them. I arrange them by character, the color of their skies, and the circumference of their authors' heads. For instance, James Joyce, because of the size of his skull, is located at the entrance. As for Rousseau, he comes towards the end, right at the window, and that is for two reasons. First, his slim head size, and yes, that is indeed in accordance with my own empirical measurements, to use the British norms of philosophy. And second, because of his ever-constant need to relieve himself and to be close to nature. There's nothing like the cure of fresh air for cases of bladder infection, paranoia, and Cartesian thinking. In short, I have a system that defies every methodology of documentation ever made or conceived, a library that contains the world, as the blind Argentinian would say, a true mystery that I keep to myself and share only with the likes of Mary, the lover of books. And that blind Argentinian he's referring to there is, of course, Borges, who is known for his chaotic library. So that's one way to organize your books, by the size of authors' skulls. There's other ways he mentioned he organizes his books too, as well, and it's beautiful hearing about it. I really like Robbie Hodge's writing. I highly recommend you pick up. My favorite book by him is Cockroach, but Carnival was very good as well. So here comes the rant, and yeah, it's gonna get political. Because reading is political. It is. Try to deny it all you want, but it is a very political act. It's very important to read and develop your critical thinking skills, especially in our current political climate. So I'm going to talk about the importance of owning physical media. And this can go for, books. It's important to own physical copies of books. It's important to, if movies are important to you, it's important to own physical copies of movies. If music is important to you, it's important to own, like vinyl records or CDs or tapes. It's important to own things that you can touch in regards to media and maintaining your media literacy. And I'm going to talk about why. First off, ownership. Because you don't actually own your digital media. You rent a license that allows you to access it according to the leaser's terms and conditions, and we all know, no one actually reads those things, right? So access can actually be revoked with little to no notice, and the ability to view said media can be limited greatly to only a handful of devices or locations. I remember reading a story a while ago about a copy of 1984 being deleted off of multiple people's e-readers without their knowledge. They had paid full price for it. It was a legitimate product that they thought they owned, but they don't own it. And you don't own your ebooks. They are leased to you. Who would think that we wouldn't need the firemen from Fahrenheit 451, that we would voluntarily give up our media by only having ebooks. Another reason is censorship, and I'm going to read this from a New York Times article. It's their content, you're just licensing it. It's a hard word for me to say, sorry. So I'm just going to quote from the article. In Britain, Clarissa Ackroyd, a Kindle reader of Dahl's Matilda, watched a reference to Joseph Conrad disappear. U.S. editions of Dahl's books were unaffected. Owners of Stein's Goosebumps books lost mentions of schoolgirls' crushes on Headmaster, and a description of an overweight character with at least 6 chins. Racial and ethnic slurs were snipped out of Christie's Mysteries. In each case, ebooks that had been published and sold in one form were retroactively and irrevocably altered, highlighting what consumer rights experts say is a convention of digital publishing that customers may never notice or realize they signed up for. Buying an ebook doesn't necessarily mean it is yours. Terry Adams, a vice president who runs paperback and digital publishing at Little Brown & Company, whose authors include James Patterson, Evelyn Waugh, and Donna Tartt, said the company regularly makes corrections to ebooks at editors' and authors' discretion, fixing factual errors and typos, rewording phrases, and adding new passages, among other changes. These edits are typically not recorded publicly, Adams said, in line with industry standards. So if they can make those changes to your books, what other changes can they make? Can they then limit which books are available? Will we even notice them banning books if they just stop making them available to download? Another reason you should own physical media is surviving the apocalypse. Mostly joking, but also, what if? Who knows with what's going on in the world? Digital things are not going to last without access to electricity. And, as the doctor said, books are the greatest weapons in the world. Do you know how many zombies I can hit with my physical library? As opposed to my one currently defunct e-reader? I have over 2,000 books, physical books. With my aim, I probably won't be able to take out 2,000 zombies, but I'd have a better chance with 2,000 shots as opposed to the one now defunct e-reader I have that I don't even know where the location is at the moment. So yeah, good weapons. So let's just talk about ways to organize your bookshelves. That's what you're here for, right? Not for me ranting that you should actually have bookshelves. First, by color. Very visually appealing. I cannot deny that. For some people, it may make it harder for them to find their books. You have to remember what color the spine was. But, if you're like me and you have a giant spreadsheet listed with all your books, you can just add the spine color to your spreadsheet and have to consult your spreadsheet every time you want to find a book, but that is way around that. So it is very visually appealing to have your books organized by color, a big rainbow across your wall. Even though a lot of these books that I own are black, on the spine, so it's not. I guess some people decorate in very minimalist colors. I obviously don't. I like a lot of color. My background's a little bit chaotic because I had to move some things for some people who are coming to fix something tomorrow. But you can see I do maximalist clutter, that kind of stuff. The next way to organize your books, and I have done all of these ways to organize books. So I'm speaking from experience. Yeah. So secondly is by genre. The pro of this is that it's very easy to find your mood reads. For me, mood reading, it's very much based upon genre reading. So I feel like reading, science fiction, so I go to the science fiction part of my shelf. I feel like reading a mystery, so I go to the mystery book of my shelf. The problem with this is that some books transcend genre, or you don't know what genre it is until you've read it. And I noticed that the general fiction section of my bookshelf was just getting overstuffed, and it wasn't really helping with the mood reading because it was all kind of muddled in there together. And then you get into nonfiction, and nonfiction, there's the nonfiction books about religion, and there's the nonfiction books about race, but then where do you pit the nonfiction books that are about race and religion? You gotta put them beside each other, but then you have science and religion, and then I was overthinking it, so yeah, but I don't know if I'll be doing that again. We'll see. The next way is if you are brave, read versus unread books. That's if you want to face the amount of unread books you own. I know a lot of people have a thing with having a lot of unread books on their shelves. I'm kind of the opposite. I do like having a lot of unread books on my shelf, because for me, my bookshelves aren't necessarily a trophy case. They are potential. It's like my own library. I can go there and I can find a book to read, as opposed to going to my bookshelf and seeing just a bunch of books I've already read and just going, I don't really feel like that, because I don't often feel like rereading books. I'd rather read newer, to me, books. Yeah, but that's my personal opinion. Other people feel differently. Another way you can organize your books is to just not organize. The only way to win is to not play the game, or whatever it is from War Games. This chaos, pure chaos, which my shelves have gotten to before, even though they start out organized, sometimes it just falls all apart, and I salute you if that is your preferred method of keeping your bookshelf. But yeah, it causes me stress. I like organization. I do like maximalism. I do like a lot of clutter, but I know where everything is in my room. You ask me for a very specific thing, and I will be able to find it very quickly for you. That's just the way I am. I like a lot of it. I like it all out. I like being able to see it. Okay. But the most superior way to organize your books, and there's literally no cons to this, at least none that I can think of at the moment, until, like 6 months down the line when I feel like reorganizing my bookshelves, is alphabetically by the author's last name. That's the way to do it. Keep all the genres, all the fiction and non-fiction together, and just stick everything in there alphabetically by the author's last name. There's no question about where a book is going to be, right? You don't have to worry about if it's fiction or it's non-fiction, if it's fantasy, or if it's just plain fiction, if it's a fantastical mystery set in historical Rome featuring a romance and you don't know where to put it with genre. You at least know the author's last name. You can find the book on your shelf a whole lot easier that way. And that's the way I'm going to stick with it until I get bored and want to change it up again. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the importance of owning physical media. Not to say that ebook, like, you don't read ebooks. That's not what I'm saying. Like, ebooks have their place. Just understand what you're getting into, and own some books, because especially with the political climate and things being banned, we have to stay literate. We have to know things, and the best way to do that is through owning something that cannot be altered by the governing powers like Amazon. Like, you don't think that Bezos would take a book off your e-reader, off your Kindle, if Donald Trump said, "Hey, I'll give you $1 billion to do it"? Sure, it's more complicated than that, but you get my gist, right? Like, please, if you love a book, buy it. Yeah, if you can too. Again, there's that caveat with, like, if you can afford to do it. Thrift stores are awesome places to buy books. Just buy the book. Own the physical books. I think it's important. So let me know how you have your bookshelf organized, if you have it organized at all, and what you think is superior. Because the way you have your books organized may not be how you think is the superior way to organize bookshelves. Because there is a hierarchy here, of course. There's a hierarchy in everything. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching.